friends, you are crafting with Kim Byers, and today we are making tons of Easter things. So I am really excited about these. I've been working on them for a little bit, and I was hoping to get them out last week. So these are going to be some really fun things that you can make for Easter for gifts to give to other people. I am going to do something at the end for myself. But most of these are gifts, easy, quick ideas that you can give as hostess gifts when you go around celebrating for Easter, or for your kids, or for family members, or just, you know, for fun happies. So we're going to be using our Cricut a ton. We're going to be doing sublimation. We are going to be doing all the things fun Easter. So as always, I want you to craft with confidence. I want you to have fun with all the things that you're making. Hop down below, ask me any questions that you want. I answer all of them myself, and I just love hearing from you guys. And if you don't feel like leaving a comment, you know, saying hi, hit that thumbs up and let me know that you were here. And by the way, I would love you to hit that subscribe button too, so you don't miss all of my future stuff. I have so much coming. Okay guys, so let's hop over to the craft table and let me show you what our first project is going to be. Okay, so here we are on the craft table. This is our very first craft for today. I'm really excited about this one. We're gonna make onesies. We're gonna put sweet little Easter sayings on them. And by the way, these sayings are great for totes or t-shirts or coffee mugs or whatever you wanna put them on. But I am making these little onesies as a gift because my cousin just had a baby boy. And I mean, like a couple of days ago, just had a baby boy. And so this will be his first Easter. And so I'm going to put some sweet little designs that I just whipped up on these little onesies. And by the way, I'll put links to this down below, but I partnered with Heat Transfer Warehouse. They have beautiful product. So all of these colors are in this bundle, as well as the onesie, as well as the SVG. So you can hop over and get all of these materials in a bundle. I'm also selling them over there separately as well. So if you just want the design that's there, it's there as well. Okay, but I also have my trimmer, I have my tape measure, I have my scissors, and I have my heat press. So let's go ahead and move everything out of the way and get our colors trimmed out. Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space, and these are the two designs. This is 2 of the 4 that I created for this bundle. I went ahead and pulled these 2 in specifically for these sweet little onesies. So they're about 4.5 by 5 size down to fit on these onesies, and they're actually ready right now to go ahead and hit make it. Okay, so here we are with our mat, and so we have 8 different colors. So a little trick that I like to do when I have so many different colors is I will place them in different places on the mat so that I can put all of the material, or a lot of the material, on the mat all at one time, so I don't have to go back and forth to the table putting new vinyl on my mat. And if you've not ever seen it, I have 15 tips that every Cricut beginner needs to know, and this is in that video. It is super quick, but basically what you're doing is you are putting vinyl in every corner, and then you have a different cut for every corner. So let me show you how to do that just super quick. Now the other video is going to give you not only 14 other tips, but it's going to give you like a beginning to end of how you do this and show you how to insert it into the machine and that kind of thing. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to mirror image, and then I'm going to move down to my white, which is a tiny little cut, right? I'm going to mirror image it, but then I'm also going to take it and pull it over into the far corner. So now I have gray in this corner, and I have white in this corner, and so then I have brown, which I'm going to mirror image. Oop, it already was. I'm going to mirror image, and then I'm going to move that into the bottom corner, and then I'm going to go to the next one, and I'm going to grab both of those and move them into the bottom corner. And I am going to mirror image. So I'm going to do 4 and then 4. So I have 8 colors in total. And so now we can go ahead and hit continue. I have my maker connected, and I'm going to be using everyday iron-on. I have my fine point blade. So let's start with the gray, and we're ready to go. Okay, so they're all cut, and this is what it looks like cutting in the 4 corners before I take it off the mat. So I just bend my mat, not my material. And so I have cut out all the colors. Okay, so I've weeded out everything. And by the way, if this is a first for you, like creating an iron-on or an HTV project, I have beginner tutorials for every one of the machines. So for Cricut Joy, Maker, and for Explore, and I'll put those down below so you guys can go over and check those out. But basically, you know, I just weeded these out and I have all of these different elements. So when you have so many different elements, the important thing is to generally place them all, you know, generally place them where they should be, especially when they overlap, which this one does, and then remove them and put one as your anchor. So I'm going to use the cross. Funny, right? I'm going to use the cross as my anchor, and so I'm going to put that there and get that heated in place, and then I'm going to start overlaying other things on top of it. So what we want to do is I have the cross where I think it should be, with everything else, and so I'm just going to lay them upside down so that the sticky doesn't get on the table. And then we're going to place some heat on that. So this is a 100% polyester, but this is a sublimation tee. This is great for sublimating as well as iron-on. So what we're going to do though is we are going to look at the heat guide, and I'm going to put that in the description down below as well. And what we're going to do is we're going to do 315 for 30 seconds on one side, and then we'll flip and do the other. And you always want to preheat your material. It can be kind of hard whenever you're doing multiple layers like this, but you can preheat that material and even get a better hit. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to lift that straight up, and then I'm just going to flip this over and heat it on the opposite side for 15 seconds. Okay, so now that this is cooled off, what we want to do is we want to remove our liner, just testing it corner to corner. It looks like it was a good adherence. Okay, so now the next thing that we want to do is I'm going to save this little clear sheet in case I need to cover up any areas, and I'm going to take my next color and I'm going to place this on. So remember when these cut, they were attached, so this is in its exact location, you know, for both the Loves Me and the Jesus. So there's plenty of room inside there for the word like. And on the design, what I had done is I had overlaid it onto the cross just slightly, with the S being about right there. And I would suggest having your design close by, you know, like a picture of it, just so you can make sure that you get everything where it should be. And so I think that's about perfect, and I just want to make sure that we're, you know, on a line. I don't want anything to be crooked, and it looks good. Okay, so now what we want to do is I want to cover back up that cross. I want to protect it, but I need my blue to be on the bottom. That's why we had to peel the cover off. And so now what I'm going to do is lay that back over top so my heat doesn't hurt it in any way. And this is just a process. So once this is done, we'll let it cool, we'll peel that off, we'll put it on the next layer, and we'll just keep going until both onesies are done. And there we go. Aren't those so sweet? Oh my goodness, they turned out so great. Oops, and I actually still have a little piece. There we go. Oh my gosh, so cute. Okay, so let's move on to the next craft. Okay, so here we are with craft number 2, and so this is just a really sweet little tote that I found at the dollar spot at Target. So I literally $1. And so what I want to do with this is I want to personalize this for my boys. And so I'm going to be using today Easy Weed Jacksonville Teal. This is something I got at Heat Transfer Warehouse. I love this color. It works with so much, especially for spring. Then I'm going to be using my EasyPress Mini. I thought that it was a much better size for the little ears. And then I have my weeding tool and a pair of scissors. We're just going to hop over to Cricut Design Space super quick, and I'm going to show you what we're doing, and then we'll pop back over to the table and get it done. Okay, here we are in Cricut Design Space real quick. So I went into shapes and I just got a rectangle and pulled that in and turned it white so that I could use it as a representation of what the bunny ear size was, so that I could get my font on the bunny ear and kind of know what it was going to look like. So I have a couple of different fonts, and I really like this one, but my boys already have an Easter basket that's using this font, and I'll show it to you guys. But I put their names on the brim, or the rim of their Easter baskets, and so I thought it would be really fun if the Easter bunnies kind of matched the baskets. So I'm going to use this font, but just know that whenever you do a text box and you bring in, it's going to pop into the whatever the last font you used was. So I'm just going to type in really quick Alex, and then all you have to do is go up into colors and change it to whatever color you want, and then of course you can size it here, or you can go up into sizes here and make it as perfect as you need it to be, especially in small spaces. I love to be able to do this, and then of course you can rotate it and put it on your little bunny ear to see what you think that's going to look like, and make sure that it all sizes up appropriately. So I am going to use these two right here. So I'm actually going to delete these two, and then I am going to go in and make sure that I hide both of my squares because I don't actually want to cut those. And of course they will both pop onto the mat. I'm just going to give it a little bit of space for weeding purposes, and we are going to mirror those because we are using iron-on. Okay, and so we quickly select everyday iron-on, and now we're ready to cut. Okay, so I've gone ahead and weeded out my names and separated them, and now what I want to do is I'm going to push my mat up a little bit. I'm going to take the handle to my pail and push it on the inside, and then I'm just going to lay my bunny ear at the edge. And so then I want to put my little name. It's so simple to personalize these kind of things, and guys, you can do this to Easter bunnies, like the little feet of Easter bunnies. I've done that before for my boys when they were younger, like for little stuffies that you want to put in their Easter basket and that kind of thing. Okay, and so I'm going to do that. And then with your EasyPress Mini, it doesn't have a specific heat. It just has 1, 2, and 3. For this and this type of fabric, which is canvas basically, I'm going to use the hottest setting. And so just remember, you don't really want to iron when you're using your EasyPress. You want it to be as, straight down as possible. I did have to, kind of slide it on a little bit, which is why I was holding it, just because, there's a lip here. So what we want to do is just medium pressure and wait for the beat. Okay, so I went ahead and did Kohl's as well, and so now it's cool to the touch, and you just want to weed from one corner to the other. Look how easy that is. Guys, how cute is that, right? So we took $1, a little dollar basket from the Target dollar spot, added a very small amount of iron-on, which by the way, this is the same color that I used in that first project in that bundle, and made something really, really special. Okay, on to the next. Okay, so much like our last craft, I got these at the Target dollar spot. I just loved the little seersucker fabric in the center of the ears, and I thought that is the perfect place to place a monogram or a child's name or something like that. So I picked these up for my niece, and I'm using this Easy Weed Lemon. This is such a beautiful color. Now I started to put pink inside of here. And I ended up choosing to do yellow, which I know it's going to be a little bit more subdued, but I wanted the personalization, but not necessarily the pop, because I felt like if I put pink on this side, then I would have to do something pink on this side, you know, just for a little bit of balance. So, and then I added a little bit of ribbon just to fun it up a bit. And now this is my EasyPress Mini, so we're going to use this. It's going to fit perfectly right inside of that ear, and then I will weed this out. So let's hop over to Cricut Design Space. I'll show it to you super quick, and then we'll hop right back to the craft table. Okay, so much like our last craft, we're simply putting a name. And so what I like to do in Cricut Design Space is grab that shape that is similar to the ear. Before, I think I just grabbed a rectangle, but for this one, I actually grabbed this little shape here and then turned it the color of the seersucker, turned it around. I unlocked it, so you can unlock it here and make it exactly proportionate. This is a 1.8 by 3.9, which is very close to the actual size of the bunny ear. So then once I have that in place, I tested different fonts. And so I looked at different fonts that might be fun, and ended up choosing this Hello Sunday. So now that I know that it's going to fit and it's going to look right on the bunny ear, you just turn off that particular cut and go ahead and send it to Matt. And don't forget that we mirror image everything when we're using heat, and then we'll move on to choosing our material. You could use any of your machines with this, of course, and then I'm just going to choose everyday, and we're ready to cut. Okay, so I went ahead and cut out my material and weeded it, and then I just took a pair of scissors and trimmed all the way around. When you're working in tight spaces like this, it's good to get rid of that excess so it doesn't go over. Like this is actually fuzzy, kind of feels like chenille, and so it is, you know, gets sticky and wants to attach itself to the back of this. So just clear off anything that you don't need and then place your design. And just make sure, like these have wire in them, so I'm just going to make sure that I've got the wire out of the way. And we might have to take a little bit extra care with the A just because it's down in that groove. Okay, and so once you're ready and my EasyPress is heated, then we're just going to press. Okay, and so now just lift straight up. So now what we want to do is we want to allow that to cool. And okay, so now that it has cooled down, we're just going to peel from the edge. Oh, it did really, really well. Look at that, it did really well. And you know, the great thing about putting names on these, it's really fun to personalize, but it's also great if you have a number of kiddos that may fuss or fight over things like this. So if you have your names on them, there's nothing to fuss about, right? You know exactly whose is whose. And then I'll fluff this up a little bit so that it looks more like the other ear, but so cute, right? Okay, so here we are back with our next project, and so this one is all about purple, and I am using this beautiful fabric that my mom gave me. Well, actually I have to give her back any excess, but my mom let me have some of her fabric for this particular project, and I'm excited about this. These are little embroidery hoops, and so you can get them at the craft store for next to nothing. Sometimes you can find them at the Dollar Tree as well, like in little packs, but this is I think this is a 4-inch. Yes, this is a 4-inch. By the way, guys, this is what happens when you get your measuring tape too close to your EasyPress. I am so sad. It did come off of the EasyPress, so it didn't ruin it, but I am so sad. This was just a couple of seconds. So I'm gonna have to get a new measuring tape. So what we're going to do though is I am going to press a really darling little Easter message on the fabric, and then we're going to put that in these hoops. These are going to be great for little hostess gifts, or even something cute for your own little kitchen. Or guys, this is small enough, and there's even smaller sizes, that you could use it as an embellishment on a gift. I am really excited about making these little cuties. Okay, so let's move everything out of the way and hop over to Cricut Design Space really quick, and I'll show you what this design is. Okay, back in Cricut Design Space, this is our He is Risen project. So what I did in Cricut Design Space is I found this design. It's just one of the many images within Cricut Design Space. I looked for something that said He is Risen or Jesus. I wanted something in a circle format. And so what I did is this is the design. So this little interior piece here. So I went into shapes and I just grabbed a circle. And I brought that into Cricut Design Space. My hoop is 3.5 by 3.5 inches. So I just went up and did 3.5, whoops, 3.5. And because it's locked, see this little lock? Because it's locked, it made it proportionate. So then I just went over and changed it to, you know, a myriad of colors. So I ended up deciding that I wanted to use this rich purple with a white iron-on, but this is kind of the way that I went about the whole thing. So I'm going to delete this, and then for these guys, I could, you know, hide them. Let's hide this one, not that one, this one. Hide, hide, and hide. And so then whenever I want to send this to cut, guess what? I'm gonna hide that circle too because the only thing I want to send is the white cut. So we hit make it and it pops over to my mat. With all iron-on projects, we mirror and we're ready to continue. So for this, I'm going to select an everyday iron-on. I have my fine point blade and we're ready to cut. Okay, so I've gone ahead and cut out the design and weeded it. And so what I want to do now is I'm actually going to just trim off a little bit more of this. But what I want to do is I am actually going to press this on to my fabric, and then I'm going to cut out the fabric. So instead of cutting out the fabric and then hoping that it fits, sometimes it can be a little tricky with these guys. And so I think what I want to do is I just want to iron it on, and then I will put it in the hoop, get it positioned just perfectly, and then I will trim around the edges. Okay, so let's go ahead and get my mat. I'm going to use my EasyPress mat, and so we'll put my design right there for a moment. Okay, so I'm just going to use a corner, place that on my mat. Now, what you do want to make sure when you're working with embroidery hoops, leave yourself plenty of space, because once you place it in, you know, you're going to be pressing the fabric through this lip. So you have to, you know, allow yourself enough room for the lip and then enough room on the back so that then you can just trim it out. You just don't want to make it, you know, you don't want to get too close. So, okay, so I'm going to say, and do I want to go with the stripes or crossways? I think I want to go at an angle. Okay, so now I have that where I think it should be, and we will press. Okay, so seersucker is 100% cotton, and 315 is what it calls for. And okay, so we're cool to the touch, so let's pull at an angle. It's doing great. Okay, so just go slow, especially with little intricate designs like this. Just take it slowly. Perfect. Okay, so now what we can do is I'm just going to turn off my heat press here for a second, and I'm going to move this out of the way. So now what we want to do is we just want to rough cut it around, and I am literally just going to cut it as a square, just because there's so much fabric here. Let me just, okay, let's take two. Let's do it this way. Okay, I just want to make sure this makes me feel better. Move all the fabric out of the way. And then we will trim it more, but I want to make sure that I am giving myself enough. And you see how it shifted some there. So we're just going to be super careful. I'm going to go a little bit. My mom's going to get on to me for not using the board. Okay, so forgive me, Mom. Okay, so we're going to put that out of the way. Now we have our design. So I'm going to pop my hoop open. Let's just see where we are, and we can move it around. Okay, I think I want to move it. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, it really, really turned out well. And that was such an easy, simple, I mean, you could do this on gifts, you know, like someone's monogram or something like that. I mean, would they not be impressed if you did this beautiful little embroidery hoop with their monogram on it on a gift for their birthday or something like that? And it literally took moments. I mean, that was so quick. Okay. So you get it in just how you want it to be, making sure that, you know, you've got everything centered and sized appropriately. And then all you do is you tighten it back in. And then we'll take our scissors and just trim off the excess. You could add a little bow or something like that. Wouldn't that be pretty? Okay, so in hindsight, I wish I had painted my little hoop white, but I didn't. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to take this purple ribbon and just, instead of tying it at the top, I mean, we could always loop that and add it to the gift or whatever we wanted to do, but how sweet would this be to add the ribbon all along the edge of the hoop. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the ribbon just to start right here at this metal piece and then just go all the way around. So let's get a good cut on our ribbon. Okay, and so now we will start. By the way, this is a hot glue pen, and so I actually really like this for tiny little projects. Okay, so let's get a little bead of hot glue and get us started. We'll take our ribbon. Is that the right end? No, this was the right end. And we're just going to start right on that side of the metal, and then we will just go all the way around the edges. It's gonna be so cute. By the way, this glue pen is from Xyron, and I will put it down in the description below for anybody who wants to check it out. It's really great, not only for projects like this, but for small paper projects and things. I really enjoy this hot glue pen. Okay, and then we will trim that off. Okay, so there it is with the beautiful little edges, and what an easy, quick, pretty project to give as a hostess gift or to put on a gift, you know, like on a larger gift, or even hang on an Easter basket. I have actually even given my mom Easter baskets before. So, I mean, this is just a little sweet something to add that will only cost you pennies. Okay, so for our next project, we are going to make sublimation koozies. So I'm going to take you over to Cricut Design Space really quick and show you what we're doing. But I have a lint roller, I have my heat press mat, so I'm going to be using my Cricut EasyPress 2. So it's right over here on the side, hot. And then I've got heat tape, I have a pair of scissors. I use A-sub paper. I'm thinking about trying another paper. This one's great, but I'm just thinking about testing out some other papers as well. So I may show you guys that in another video. But for today, I'm using A-sub, and then I also have butcher paper, but you can also use parchment paper. A lot of times I use parchment paper when I can't find butcher paper, which is not always easy to locate. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop over into Cricut Design Space really quick, and I'll show you what this design is going to be. Okay, so here we are back in Cricut Design Space. So for this project, we are going to use Cricut Design Space for sublimation. So I show you how to do this exact bunny in my last video when I was teaching you how to use the slice tool in Cricut Design Space. So if you want to make this exact image, then hop over to that video. I'll put it up above and put it down in the description below and check that out. But there's also a video that I have teaching you how to use Cricut Design Space for sublimation. So I'm going to put that one there as well. But the long and short of that is that once you have your designs the way that you want them to be and they're already sized appropriately for your koozie, what you're going to do is, my heat press is ready. What you're going to do is to go ahead and make sure that each one of these are print then cut. So let's click on it, print then cut, print then cut. Everything is good. So then we can hit make it. and it brings it over to a print then cut sheet. So you can see that everything is perfect here. So now what we want to do is we want to mirror image this, because with any heat, so sublimation, iron on, you're going to mirror image your design. And so once we've mirror imaged, we'll hit continue. And then we're going to send this to the printer. We're not actually going to cut this on our Cricut. We're just going to send it to the printer on our Cricut. So you'll see that it has the black bounding box. Don't worry about that, because we're going to hand trim out each one of these bunnies for our sublimation project. So here's our Epson, which is the machine that I converted. By the way, if you want to learn how to do this, convert an Epson printer to a sublimation printer, I also have a video for that. I'll put that one down below as well. And by the way, it's organized down below by each of the projects. So each project has its own links. So it'll be easy for you to find. We don't want to bleed on this, and we want to use our system dialog box. So then we'll hit print. And it looks like it's just spinning and not doing anything. A lot of times what happens is your dialog box for your printer popped up behind your Cricut sign. So here we go, yes. Okay, so here's our print dialog box. So what you want to do here is you want to make sure that you're choosing the right media quality, right? And so here, media type, we're going to use a photo matte paper. We want photo quality, which automatically takes that over to best, and so that's going to give you the most ink for your project. If you do not choose photo, what's going to happen is your printer is going to try to save ink thinking that this is just, you know, a spreadsheet or something. So make sure that you're getting it over to best, and then we hit print. Okay, so here we are back on the craft table, and this is our printout. So you can see I have all 4 of my bunnies. And if you note, if you've not done a lot of sublimation, just notice that it's a little subdued. Like the colors are not as vibrant or as bright as you think they're going to be. When you apply heat to these with your heat press, they are going to get much more vibrant. So what we want to do right now is we just want to trim them out. So we're going to take a pair of scissors and kind of fussy cut them. But one thing I do strongly recommend is when you have a design like this, keep the bottom cut as straight as possible so that you can line it up on your item and not have to worry that you're getting, you know, anything crooked or a name crooked or anything like that. So we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut straight across, making sure that we're cutting out the bounding box. I should have probably moved that bunny. I got that guy just a smidge close on the bottom, so I'm just going to go around that just a little bit. But you see this part is still straight, so that's going to keep me from making a mess of that. And then I am going to cut this out, and then I'm actually going to go back and sort of cut around because for one, I want to take off this bounding box, but I also don't want to have any straight lines. When you apply heat to things like this, it'll sometimes want to leave like an edge, and I don't want there to be like a straight edge really. Now at the bottom, I am going to leave it straight there just because I want to be able to line it up really easy. So now that we have our design and we have our lint roller, we're just going to take it and we're going to get any lint that might be on our koozie. And I might as well do the back side, right? Okay, so there we go. So we'll pop that over to the side. The next thing we want to do is we want to use heat tape to make sure that our design does not shift or ghost when we're working on these. Okay, so I'm going to line up this straight edge here. And I can see through this. I'm not sure how well you can see on camera. Let's just get a little bit closer. I'm not sure how well you guys can see through there, but I can see the bunny. And so I've got it straight here, so I know her name is straight. And so then I'm just going to take some heat tape. I'm going to make sure that it doesn't shift while I'm heating this. And I'll put links to all these things down below so you guys can grab those. Okay, so now that I have that, I want to protect my mat. So I'm going to put that underneath. And put a little bit more parchment on top. Okay, and so now we'll apply our heat. Now do your best to sit it down perfectly flat and do not shift, do not move. Okay, so now it's done. We're going to lift straight up and put that back on the cradle. And then we're going to give this a minute or two to cool. And then once that's cooled, we'll do the big reveal. Okay, so now that it's cooled, we're going to move back our parchment paper. And so we can see the colors through. Now it didn't bring color, but you can see that it's sort of, you know, yellowed. We want to make sure that we throw these away. We do not want to double use those. We don't want any transfer onto the next thing. And then we'll take our heat tape, pull that back. Oh my goodness, guys, look how cool that is. That turned out wonderfully. I was a little nervous because I haven't done it on pink, you know, before, but yes, that turned out just great. Just great. Okay, and so for my last project, I'm really excited about this one. I'm making another garden flag. So I have a video that takes you from beginning to end how to create a garden flag using designs from Canva. So if you can get free designs from Canva, and if you have a Canva membership, you can also, you know, use what they call their pro images. Now the ones I'm using today is a pro image, but I'm telling you guys, it is so worth it if you do sublimation. So this is my little garden flag. I have a ruler, I have my parchment paper, I have my heat tape, I'm going to use my lint roller, and I have my largest EasyPress. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to pop over to the computer just super quick and just show you what my design is going to look like, and then we're going to pop back over here and put it all together. But if you would love to do a garden flag, I have this video again that will take you A to Z through every single tiny step of how to set up your design and how to print it and all that good stuff. Okay, but for today this is a little bit more about inspiration, and I'm hoping you guys love this flag as much as I know I'm going to. Okay, so let's hop over to the computer. Canva.com, that's CANVA.com, and it is just a way for the layman person to be able to design. So it does a lot of the same things Illustrator does. I mean, there are a ton of limitations, but Canva is just that quick and easy way to design things. So I'm putting a link down below to Canva, and I'm also putting a link up above right now to the video that I talked about. So here we are. This is the design that I chose. I kind of whipped this up, welcome to the buyers, and then I'm in love with this bunny. So in Canva, if you look over into elements, then you can pull up, so like I'm just going to type in bunny. Canva pops up all these things, and then across the top you have photos, graphics, videos. So we just want graphics, and then you can go one step further and you can say, you know, I want a bunny that is watercolor, which is what this is. And so then it pops up with these super cute, sweet little, you know, some of these are just adorable. And so you see this little crown, that means pro, so you have to be a member for that. But then there are some that are, you know, just normal designs, like this one right here. There's no little crown there, so that is a normal design. This one is normal free, meaning free to anyone who wants to use it. A lot of the watercolor, just because they're so intricate, are pro, but there are a ton of images in here that are not. Okay, so what I like to do is I measure my flag, and then I go up into on the home page, you can create any size template that you want. And so I created, I think this is a 12 by 16. And so then I was able to put on it, you know, put my little bunny and then put on the words, welcome to the buyers, and sort of arrange it and make sure I had my colors and everything the way I wanted them to be. And I go into great detail about this in this, you know, other video about garden flags. So basically though, once you have this done, then what you want to do is flip that. So individual images like this can be flipped. Okay, so because remember we got a mirror image, but wording or text, now this is actually an image that came out of this, and so I flipped it. But when you get into doing text, like to the buyers, unfortunately you can't flip that in Canva. And again, I talk about this in the other video, but it's easy. You simply download it to your computer and re-upload it like an image, and then you can flip it because it'll flip images, if that makes sense. Okay, so once you have all of that done, what I do is I move over and put that, this is a 12 by 16. I move over and put that onto an 8.5 by 11. So you see here I even titled it 8.5 by 11, and that's because I want to print the bunny and things as large as possible, so I separate them. And so see, I was able to bring that in as an image and then flip it. I just kept both of those because I wanted to show you that it was possible. And so now what you do is you go up into Share and you download this to your computer as an image, and then you print that out onto your Sublimation printer. So it's actually really simple once you do one or two. It's not a hard process at all. So let's hop back over to the craft table and I'll show you how these printed. Okay, so here we are back on the craft table, and I'm just taking my heat press and just press out some of the wrinkles on our garden flag. And now I want to take my lint roller and make sure that we get any excess lint. So for those of you who are familiar with sublimation, you do this because if you put ink, like if you put your design down on a flag or something that hasn't had a lint roller on it, you could actually press that ink over top of the lint, and then when you pull up your design or you brush the lint away, there's actually no ink there because it adhered to the lint. So we just always want to make sure that we use our lint roller, and I'm just going to get this one corner one more time and make sure that it's all pressed out. So the next thing that we want to do though is we want to take our parchment paper and we're going to place that under our flag because we want to protect our mat. So I unfortunately, sorry for the loud noise, I have not been able to locate butcher paper lately, and I find that the parchment paper has been doing just fine. So I'm going to tear off a few more sheets to put underneath just for protection, because it most likely will bleed. Okay, and so there we go. And so the next thing we want to do is I want to show you the design that we printed. So it came out beautifully. Is that not absolutely gorgeous? And then remember that when you print sublimation pieces, it's muted. So like it's not as vibrant or as bright as it's going to be once it's pressed with heat. And I think it turned out absolutely beautiful just as it is. And then this is my welcome to the buyers. And again, it's flipped so that we can turn it over and get it in the correct location. So I made the bunny bigger, right? 8.5 by 11. That's what my printer prints. I want to make sure that I get it in the center, and then I want to make sure that my welcome. One more thing though, sometimes when you press, it can, leave lines and things. So what's a great idea is to sort of rip the straight edges and give them like a little less definition, because then you won't have lines in your design. So just take a couple of moments and tear that away. And we'll do that around our bunny as well. And then we will put these in the right place with our... Okay, it's time for the big reveal. Everything is perfectly cool, and now it's time to pull back the parchment paper, and you can see that a little bit has transferred to that, or maybe it's just some of the heat, showing off on that parchment paper. And so now we will just pick up our heat tape. Oh my goodness, I can already see, look how vibrant that is. Guys, how beautiful that is. You can see most of the ink transferred, but there's still a little bit there. And I am just really impressed with this sublimation paper. Oh my goodness, guys, I told you that it was gonna be so much more vibrant when it was actually pressed. And so see, most of the ink came off. That is so pretty. I cannot wait to hang this on my back porch. Okay, so I hope you guys got some great ideas. As always, I'd love for you to hop down and leave me any questions about what we did today in the comments below. And I'm leaving a full list of everything that we used today in the description, so please hop down and check those out. And I hope to see you next time.